everyone. Thank you so much. Sonya and I wanted to come on and just touch base with each other about how it feels to be survivors in this Epstein unveiling moment where it just feels like crisis of everything everywhere. So basically for me, I, like so many of us I am a survivor of sexual assault, and I've been going through this process of the Epstein files for, basically since it came into, like there's something called the Epstein, there's this pedophile, there's this whole situation going on, right?
Yeah.
I've been like, oh, I know that this is important and we need this in the world. And I want this in the world because I want accountability. But I don't think I had ever really thought through, like, how will it feel to be in a world where this is being spoken about and needs to be spoken about so much in order to possibly get accountability in so many different situations. And so I was feeling really overwhelmed, and I just reached out to you and I was like, I am not okay. I'm really not doing okay. And for me, not okay looks like going back and forth between trying to read and look at every single thing.
Yeah.
And like become an expert, and then trying to like not feel any of it, like feel like it's something far away from me, like, oh, those poor girls, and then feeling it creeping closer and closer until it felt like this is in my body, like I am one of the impacted bodies of that crime and that kind of crime. And so that is like toggling between obsessive research and then dissociation and being sharp with people, being angry about seeing some accountability in other parts of the world, or what feels like people having the right response to this, and knowing that we're in this hellhole where it's like just so hard to imagine what accountability could look like.
Could even look like, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, all that was coming up for me in a major way, and I was feeling way out of body. Like, I was just like, if those images and things have to be in my body, I don't want to be there, which is how I always survived. Yeah. So I just I reached out to you in real life and was like, girl, I'm not okay. And you shared some things with me. And then we saw each other yesterday. It was like, I'm doing better. So I thought maybe first, how are you coming into this conversation? Because you said you were also not okay.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, now we can talk.
Yeah. I was like, welcome to the Shared Not Okay Club. And I just resonate so deeply with the response you just languaged is so similar to what it was that I was moving through. I'm like, who amongst us is not a survivor of sexual assault in a body assigned female at the birth in this society, right? And that there is
and all the little boys,
and all the little boys, like they're right, like just in the culture that has cultivated sexual assault as part of its fabric, who is not, right? Who's not a survivor. And I too had the experience of both being like, I need to know everything about this, right? This is like, oh, I need to know all the information and gather all the information. And I could sense in myself, or I was able to, both be in that experience and then the part of me that can see what I'm doing, right? And it's just like, oh, you want to control because this feels out of control. And think having all the information that you can access right now is going to give you some sense of control.
Yes.
And
I just need to legally make the case.
Yes. Can I argue this?
Because also it's because like there's evidence. Like I'm like, I will never have the evidence. Like that's I'm like, I will never have evidence. I just have the imprint. And so I'm like, how much evidence do you need to have in order for something to happen? And I've got it. I'm gonna get all that, and then I will help these people, right?
I want to pause there because I really want to highlight that, because that's I wonder how many people are having that experience of like, in my circumstance, I will never have the evidence to be able to say this happened to me. But here is this thing out in public that has 3 has 8 million, 5 million, 6 million pages of evidence. Can I know all this evidence? Because there's some part of me still trying to make a case that I can't make on my own behalf, you know? And that feels like such an important part of us to acknowledge and notice and allow to be here, allow to be known, right?
Yeah.
The other piece that, I too toggled between I must know all the information and then life kept moving, but also like that's not me. I need to know the information as a responsible citizen, right?
Yeah.
And not as an impacted human being. And life kept bringing it closer and closer and closer until I realized that I was one person removed from Epstein.
Yeah.
But I actually know a person who knows and I was just like,
Yeah.
what in the fuck is happening? Like,
Yeah.
why am I this close to this thing? Right. And I could feel the part of life that was like, because we are all this close to this thing. It is not a thing outside of us. It is us. This is life revealing life to itself. And I feel like I've been in this dance, earlier this weekend after the eclipse, I took my blood pressure and it was 177 over 90. It was like, you are 2 seconds away from a stroke. And I was like,
baby.
what
No.
is happening? And at first I was just like, I mean, yes, I've been eating in ways that are not the way I normally eat, but I have not been doing anything that gives 177 over 98. And then I remembered, oh, I spent last week trying to understand and know everything about this horrific experience that is happening to us at the level of the collective. And there's a way in which my body is like, this is, we can't do this way.
Yeah. I really appreciate you talking about the tangible impact in the body too, because I think there's also a feeling of like, oh, I'm already exhausted. Like I'm like my body, like Autumn and I were talking about this, just this like there's this like secondary and tertiary traumatic experiences that are just like normal now. Like I'm just like Palestine hasn't stopped and the assault on Black lives hasn't stopped and ICE hasn't stopped and the attack on trans bodies hasn't stopped. Like everything has opened. All these like doors of trauma have opened or escalated in this period. None of them have closed. The slavery never, like none of the doors of trauma have closed, and then more keep being opened. And like I know the solidarity thread is always my way through, but it's like, I think the thing I was missing is like, oh, in order to even, I can't be a part of solidarity thread unless I acknowledge to myself, like, I am completely impacted myself. I am impacted myself. And it happened to me. I wrote something like one of the things that helped heal a little bit or move the energy a little bit. I was trying to write my book. I was like sitting and trying to, and that's the other thing is I'm like, I never have writer's block. And all of a sudden I keep going to write and just being like, uh, even the stories, it's like, it's hard for me to even remember the stories. It's like, they were just clear, but the fog, this is fog. It's like we're using these documents right now to try to sift through this fog that is like culture wide, generation wide, with all these doors of trauma open, all this exhaustion. And being able to say like, oh, solidarity is that thread. I have it in me. And oh, this music came through. So I was sitting down and I was like, okay, well, here's a little song knocking at my brain and nothing else is coming through with any coherence right now. And I started singing, and singing is often the way I find my way through the fog. Like it's kind of like an emotional echolocator for me, right? That I'm like, okay, if I sing out, like my ancestors will sing back or someone will sing back and kind of be like, this way, sister. And so I started singing and it was like 10 songs of survival and of this moment. Like everything just poured out. It was like a musical for myself that my spirit needed to put on just for me to be able to sing at the top of my lungs. It happened to me. It happened to me. Like just that, right? And I was like, honestly, I never know what people who don't have art practice do, because I'm
Yeah.
like, it happened to me, and I want, I know that that's what Me Too has been all about, and that's
Yeah.
what solidarity is all about, and that's what so many of these things are like. We have been assaulted, we have been raped, we have been killed, we have all been experiencing all of these things.
Mhm.
Um, but but being able to look at like, I'm like, at what point do we understand that so many of us have experienced it that we can change it? We
Yeah.
actually, like, something can change, even if it's just a story within us that nothing can change. Like,
Yeah.
something is changing right now.
Yeah.
And that is
Yeah.
also hard. I'm like, oh, I have to hold on long enough for this to change.
Change. Yeah.
Um,
There's something there's
yeah.
something I've been working with so much as I've been reading charts, like, 5 charts a week. I'm just reading a lot of charts. It's been
Yes.
a massive amount of information, but the thing that keeps showing itself to me again and again and again in every single chart is this thing you just mentioned, which is we can change it, but actually the beginning of the change is the narrative. It is
Yes.
the story that we tell ourselves. And
Yeah.
part of what is happening in this moment that we are in a collective fog and in this complete, like, this associative energy, this energy of like inundation with horror and trauma. And the energy of that wants to reify a narrative that this is it, there's no way out, we're confused,
Yeah.
we're right. And part of like and I really think that this is so interesting in what you pointed out, which is like the thread that pulls you out is the song that has the new narrative in it, right? It's the song that
Yes.
has the new story. And
Yes.
part of what, I believe this is the reason why we are like, yes, we probably should process our grief. And we know that there might be something here for others, is because
Yeah.
there is a song, there's a word, there's a language that is the the life raft out of
Yeah.
this collective lost at sea experience that we are in right now. And we have to
Yeah.
sing it to each other. We have to give it
Yeah.
language. And then we have to say, follow that thing
And that's right.
everywhere.
It's like a horizon. It's a horizon thing,
Horizon.
right? Like, I was
Yes.
thinking about this, that I was so grateful. Like, I watched or listened to Amanda Doyle, our friend, did
Mhm.
this double series that was
Yeah.
just like, okay, here's everything you actually
I
know. I
listened
want
to
you to
that
know. It's like
too.
so
Yeah.
helpful for me,
It's so
because it was
helpful.
like, there's really already a lot of work in place, and like, where this rock is rolling, right? And so it made me realize, I'm like, oh, the first horizon for this was just release these
Mhm.
files,
Yeah.
right? Like, just release them. Like, they are so clear and incendiary that if people can see our love, I love you.
Mhm.
But if people can see them, then
Mhm.
the next horizon becomes clear, right? And so now it's like, okay, now there's a next horizon, and it's, I think some kind of consequence. But I think the kind of work you and I often do is like, what's the horizon beyond
Not
that
on the
horizon?
horizon.
And
Yes.
trying to feel for, like, what does it look like to be fully healed from this? What does
Mhm.
it look like? I remember years ago, Generation 5 articulated a 5 generation vision for stopping child sexual abuse. And it was like,
Mhm.
yeah, what is the horizon in which we can really imagine that this moment is in the service to
Two.
no more
Yeah.
pedophilia, right?
Yes.
Is in
Yes.
service to no more sexual assault, in service to no more corruption of our, because it's just, the corruption is
Mhm.
so, like, we thought it was everywhere, you know?
Right. That's the part that keeps wilding me out is I keep
It's
being
really
like,
wilding me
it's
out, because I thought I was
fascinating
gonna,
because
like,
I'm
I
like,
really am on the edge of
no,
conspiracy theory. I was
right,
holding myself back, but
right. I'm like, I know, like, there's nothing here
I
that is
know.
outside of anything that I imagined is what happens here. And there's
Yeah,
also something else about being like, oh my God, I was so right. Like,
yeah.
there's
I didn't want
something
to be this
I
right about
didn't want to be,
anything in my
there's
life.
something that never wanted to allow the
Yeah,
idea that this sort of horrific disregard of humanity and of the
yeah,
very existence of life could actually be not only how people operate, but could
yeah,
be the standard operation
yeah,
system of everyone who's running society. Like it's
Right. Well,
so
and it's also like it's
matters.
the fractal, right? Like my brain is always like, oh, this is the fractal. Like,
Yeah.
what is genocide if not a rape of the
Right.
earth, a rape
Or
of
the
this?
earth.
You know,
Right.
it's
It's
like
just like
these
this
are
orientation.
penetrative
Yes.
violation of sacredness of life
Yeah.
completely. And
Yeah.
so, like, the only way you can do something at that grand of a scale is if you're comfortable with it at any scale,
Everywhere.
and if you've been
Anywhere.
practicing it
In
at
every
every
way.
scale,
Yeah.
right? And so I
Yeah.
think there's that part where I'm like, oh, like when you say like we're close to it, we're in it. It's like that's the other part. Is I looking around at everything, you know, like every advertisement. I'm taking on a British accent now
Yeah.
because they already took their prints out, and so I'm like
Right.
advertisement. But like I'm looking at ads, I'm looking at pornography, I'm looking at like the way like children's shows are structured. I'm looking at like just like everything, and I'm like, it's
It's everywhere.
everywhere.
It's
It's
everywhere.
everywhere in the
It's
fabric
everywhere.
of everything, and I know that I have to be able to see it that comprehensively to have a chance at
Yeah.
surviving
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, but yes, and I am curious about it. I'm sitting with, and I am,
Mm.
because I'm really present to like what it meant for my blood pressure to be like, you're doing too much. Right.
Yeah.
And
What does doing
so,
too much
what
mean?
is the
Yeah.
dance? What is the equilibrium between let it all in
Yeah.
and and not let it overtake you, right? And there's
Yeah.
this, I keep coming back to, I keep hearing Andrea. I keep hearing Andrea say, whatever it is you're feeling right now, name it love, and I'm like,
Yeah.
there is something, and it's a cosmological worldview that's been trying to come through me. And I feel like it's been really working its way through me right now. And it is bullying me in this moment. And it's
Yeah.
the idea that everything that is happening, everything that is exposing itself, that is revealing itself, that is presenting itself, is for the intention of moving us toward that horizon line that we see, that is
Mm.
a complete and total reconciliation to love. That it actually, every unfolding that we are in this moment is moving us toward actually fully remembering and authentically embodying that which has always been, which is love. And if that is
Mm.
indeed the case, then this thing that is being revealed right now, and this is something I've been saying in my readings too, I'm just like, oh, like love is agnostic to how it remembers itself. It has no, it's like, are you closer to remembering your love? Because if you're closer to remembering your love, then cool. And that the act of free will is our conscious choice on how we remember we are loved. Genocide
Mm.
and pedophilia is the most extreme example of how far separated love
Mm.
is embodied in us as physical humans, is from having forgotten that it is love. It is the most
Uh-huh.
extreme experience of I do not remember what I am. And
Yeah.
that the
Yeah.
unveiling of this moment is life saying, we're going to wake you up so that you remember. Everybody, we will be awakened to remembering.
Yeah.
And we have a choice about whether or not we are a conscious part of that experience of evolution toward love, or if we are an unconscious part of that experience to evolution towards love, or if we are a diabolical participant in that unfolding of
Yeah.
uh, of the evolutionary moment of love. Either way it
Yeah.
goes, we're going. And for me, that's the part that's holding
Mm.
me in place. Either way it
Mm-hmm.
goes, no matter how we get there, we are going toward remembering that all of existence is love. We are going towards remembering that we are love, all
Mm.
being, all existence. And we have the choice in this moment to be conscious agents of that remembering. Right
Yes.
now, we get to
Like,
say we are conscious agents of that remembering.
so can I ask you questions? Because I love these moments where I'm like, you know, I'm like, you're out ahead of me on this. Like, I I hear what you're saying,
Yeah.
right? And I'm like, I think the thing I wrestle with
Yeah.
is when I think about loving myself, like wholly loving
Mhm.
myself, then I'm like, I
Yeah.
have to love every single part of myself, including the shadows, and I have to find a way to reconcile parts of me. But my my sort of, Virgo self always wants to be like, no, I need to eradicate that part, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there's certain memories, there's certain um, you know, yeah, there's just certain parts of me, like I think like anyone, especially yeah, small parts of me, little things that I'm just like, that part is bad. That part is not as good. It doesn't deserve to exist. And and I want to be able to have discernment. And I feel like this is this moment where, like I've had a lot of people be like, well, we need to unfollow this person. We need to do, and I'm like, I'm really interested in like discernment and actual accountability.
Yeah.
And I feel like maybe that's the question. Is discernment the step towards love? Is accountability the step towards love that you speak of here? Because I can't, for me in my own life, there's things where I'm like, I don't want to ever accept, like capitalism is
Yeah.
a great example of this, right? That I sort of had a reckoning with myself where I'm like, I don't accept, like, I know that I was trained to be a capitalist, but I don't accept capitalist as part of me. It
Yeah.
feels like a foreign thing that was um, pushed and socialized onto me and that I'm trying to reject it. So every day I'm finding ways to be like, that is not a part of me. And I don't want it to be a part of the human species, and the most healing thing I can do is let that thing die.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You see what I'm
100%.
asking?
Yes.
Like, I know
So
you'll hear a question then.
I
Hopefully.
do. I hear it. I hear it.
Yeah.
And and it brings up a couple of things for me. And one of them is it is a loving act to let a thing die. Are we being asked to
Mhm.
let pedophilia die? Yes. Are we
Yes.
being asked to let genocide die? Yes.
Yes.
Are we being asked to surrender these aspects of the way that we believed we had to learn such that a new emerging way of learning can be born? Absolutely.
Mhm.
Now, what does that look like in practice? For
Yeah.
me, what happens is, and so there are a couple of things. One is,
Mhm.
and this is Sonya just talking about my own orientation to how it is that I move through existence.
Mhm.
What I've discovered is there is a part of this that I can do, that is Sonya the human can do. I'm supposed to see, I'm supposed to use discernment, I am supposed to locate myself in my own experience and traumas and see the illusions in them as I can. I am here to do that for the not the purpose of eradication, but for the purpose of healing, right? When
Yeah.
I cut myself, I don't wish to remove the the portion of my body that was cut.
I cut four times. I've cut
I
my hand this
know.
week. That's like I was like, girl, you're in a fog. You are literally injuring yourself. You need to
Yes.
wake up.
And you're not, and the
Yeah.
intention is not that
Yeah.
the thing that is cut now needs to be removed,
Right.
right?
Right. I would
It
never.
is,
Yeah.
right? It is, how do I heal this thing that was cut, right? And actually, the only way to heal the thing that is cut is to tend to it. It's
Yeah.
actually to be in relationship with it.
And
And
even I will say this because I've been watching The Pit. It's
yeah,
also to recognize if it is something where I'm like, I do have to let that part
that
go
part
for the
go
whole to
for
heal,
the whole
right?
system to
Where I'm like, that
operate, right?
part is actually it's infected or it can't heal or whatever it is. Because that's part of it too. Is I'm like, there might be parts of what's happening now. Because I'm very like, don't cancel things, but I'm also like, but there are things that are so infected, we have to wholeheartedly say
So,
stop
yeah,
so
this
that we
can
can,
survive.
so the body can live. Yeah. Okay.
And that
Okay.
is part of the like, what is it? What is asking to be healed? What is asking to be surrendered? What
Yeah.
is asking to be
Yeah.
some things have to die for a thing to heal sometimes. That it's
Yeah.
all part of it's all part of the intricate unfolding of it all. For
Yeah.
me, we are dealing, again, we're back
Mm.
and y'all get to believe whatever y'all want to believe. I'm just talking about me. There is a limitation to what Sonya can do. There is a limitation to
Mhm.
what the human form and its fallibilities and its imperfections and its traumas and its ancestral pains and woundings. There is only so much of this healing journey that I can do.
I don't like that, Sonya.
I know. And none of us do, which is why we
I
be on the.
guess.
But here's the thing, like
Because
this is
I'm like,
why
let's get it. Yeah,
if
no.
we are convinced that it's only us, right?
No.
Separate of
I mean,
all the
I know it is true. Life
right,
has really put my face in the dirt with that lesson. Right?
right,
It's just,
and but none of us like it, right? Because we feel like
you
we have
know?
some
Yeah.
range of control if we think we could do it by ourselves, right? If I could do it by myself,
Yes.
then I'm
That's
back
the
in the
part I
seat of
like.
control, right? But
Yeah.
what life is clearly every day reminding us.
Mm.
That's so cute you think that. It's so cute you think that. And it's so cute you think that at the level of, I mean, this is the part of the unveiling of the horrors that we're looking at.
Yeah.
And the part that we don't want to do that I believe is a necessary aspect to moving beyond the fog is how too am I that?
Yeah.
What that's just
Yeah.
control and power manifested in the
Yeah.
most heinous, horrible, disgusting, vile ways. And
No. But
I
I will say this,
desire
that's
control
been
and
clicking
power.
for me. The biggest thing that's been clicking for me, and a lot of my friends have been talking about that since we were teenagers, for sure. Since we were teenagers, we've been trying to stay looking like teenagers. And that without, no one made a pact, like we're going to just keep looking like little girls forever. Right. But you know, every single thing is like, oh, here's the new product that makes sure you don't have any wrinkles. And here's
Wrinkles.
like what you do to keep your hair from going gray. And like, here, you cannot let your skin show that you're aging. And so you have to shoot it for and just super stiff. And not, like, here's the body, like, I need my body like it was when I was 21, or I need this and that. And I don't, it's like, again, it's not like at the front of mind, right? Because I'm like, I
It's
think of myself
conditioning.
as someone who's like, I'm aging pretty well, but
Yeah.
still in my personal and my private self,
Mhm.
I catch my hand sometime and I'm like, go get
Yeah.
anti-wrinkle cream for your hands because no one can know that you're aging. And so I'm like, that is one of the ways for me that I'm like, oh, this is in me. I'm trying to infantilize myself. I'm trying to deny my ever growing up,
Yeah.
staying in that
Yeah.
that desirable mode, even though I'm like, I don't even want the people who desire that. I literally
Yeah.
can't. I remember there was a time I was attracted to it. Anyway, it's just like one of those things where it's like, that's not even what I want, but it's what I was told I was supposed to want
That's
to
what I want.
be and look
Exactly.
like. And that's what is sexy. That's the sexiest version of myself, is whatever version
Mhm.
looks the youngest and
Yeah.
most supple or whatever. And
Yeah.
it's been really disgusting me, and trying to be like, oh, like, okay, so how do I love, like, how do I break through all of this,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
To just love myself at this age, even that feels like it would be like, oh, this is one daily thing I can do that literally pushes back against that culture
Yeah.
and says, like, I'm a desirable woman at this age with these wrinkles, with this cellulite, with this, you know,
Right.
with gray hair and with like just all of it. You know
But
what I
it's
mean?
all this, like we're all swimming in the same collective conditioning, and
Right.
the extremities to which we play that out vary, but we are all
Yes.
in the collective conditioning. And part of the
Hmm.
practice for me is when I notice that conditioning, when I notice, we're back in Body's Non Apology Land right now, like
Oh, I
throwback stuff,
know.
right?
There's a reason I want to talk to you.
Right. but
Yeah.
but the reason we're back there is because the question is the answer the answer to that collective conditioning is not you are horrible, bad, wrong, and you must be exiled from me, right?
Right.
It
Right.
is you were made like you were made in this collective soup of our dismay and disenchantment and self-denigration. You were made there. And the
Yes.
only way to unmake you is in love. There's no
Yeah.
other way to unmake you because if existence is
Mhm.
only love, if this is what life, if existence is only love, then nothing changes in existence until it is recognized, until it is known.
Right.
That's why people
Right.
stand there I will be seen, right?
Well, and I think this is also the biggest part of, like, you know, I think about death work, I think about death doula work, I think about grief, and so much, like when you're like, oh, love, love. I'm like, I've been ugly crying. I've been crying so hard. And it almost feels like, you know, I don't think of myself as someone who suppresses my emotions too much anymore. But that doesn't mean I don't have like, some backs build up,
Yeah.
some sactional
Backlog
junk
stuff.
in the trunk, backlog.
Right.
Like I was like, and so this, I've just noticed as stuff is unfolding, you
Yeah.
know, there's certain patterns where like something like what was happening in Minneapolis or what's happening in Gaza, like things will happen. What it continuously is happening in these ICE detention centers, there's something will
Yeah.
come up, and I'm like, I'm so hurt that that is
Yeah.
happening, and then we do that to each other. I'm
Yeah.
so hurt, and then it's like all the tears for everything will come
Mm.
flooding out in that moment, and like literally, I'm just like, if this was a job, do you know what I'm saying? Like I was like, is this my job? Like, or is it my job? Is this my role right now? Is I just am like crying for people, crying for strangers and crying for myself, crying for strangers and crying for myself, crying for all the beloveds I know who have direct and remembered experience and all the ones who don't remember what happened to
Mm.
them. And just crying for us, crying for all the people who had to live inside this culture before it was explicitly named,
Yeah.
before we even had
Yeah.
a, a, a hint of this could be something we could talk about and could possibly change. Like
Yeah.
it's taken so much work to get here, and there's so much still happening. Like it's like now we're in this collective double consciousness, at least double consciousness, which feels like
Mhm.
some of us are like, we already been knowing this is wrong, and now we for real know it's wrong, and we're ready to
Yeah.
keep moving. And then there's this other group of folks who are like, we do not want to
To
know
know.
this.
And here's the thing, we
Yeah.
don't want to know this because you just said the thing, which is like, is this my work? Is my work to
Yeah.
grieve? And the answer is for all of us, yes.
Yeah.
That is absolutely an essential next step in this horizon we are moving toward, right?
Yeah.
The only way to love something is to grieve it, is to honor it, is to
Yeah.
say, I am weeping at the foot of this atrocity, this pain. And I had this reflection about grief last week that it's continuing to like transform me inside. And it was like, there are ways in which my grief has been all kinds of annexed in all sorts of ways. It gets tangled
Yeah.
up. My grief becomes the person I date or the dinner I make or the sin. It becomes a whole bunch of other things other
Oh,
than
come
grief.
on. Yeah.
And what I saw when I finally was like, I had this moment where I was able to disentangle the thing, and this was just grief. And it was a grief that was like, oh, this is a grief that is never leaving. It is never going anyplace. How do I make peace with
Yeah.
this thing that is never going anyplace? And what I got to was like, oh, grief is what allows us, that sense of grief is actually what reminds us that this human journey is precious. That it is what reconnects us to the reality that being humans in a body matters. And when we forget, when we refuse to grieve, we
Yeah.
refuse to acknowledge. This is why the kinds of violence that can happen against bodies, is because the mechanism in us that reminds us that this thing matters, we have shut
Yeah.
off. We have deadened it. And so it's
Yes.
easy to kill anything now. It's easy to murder anything. It's easy to rape anything. It's easy to pillage anything because the mechanism in us that reminds us that this fucking journey in this flesh is indisputably necessary and precious, we have turned off.
Yeah.
We have to grieve. Grief right now
Yeah.
makes us human again. And that's
So
how
this
far
makes me
we've
want to
gotten.
say this to you, right? It's like, or maybe ask for you to say this to me.
Yeah.
Is like, I grieve for who you would have been.
Had this never occurred.
Yeah. Because I think that's the thing I keep sitting with for all
Mhm.
of us is I'm just like, I can just feel the parallel world like right there,
Yeah.
that's just sort
Yeah.
of like the potential,
Yeah.
um, the potential for all of us, the potential for like the kind of education we would get,
Yeah.
like the kind of art that could be there, the kind of peace, the kind of communities we could be building with each other. Like it just it's hard not to feel like this is a waste of time, that someone wasted my time with all this pain. And I know that's right. Like, I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
grateful for every day. I'm grateful for the work I'm doing, but I think there's a little need for that part of me to be
Yeah.
acknowledged and to be able to
Yeah.
acknowledge that.
Yeah. Well, I want to
Mhm.
say that, and then I want to say something else too. I want to say both things. I want to say
Okay.
I am sorry for I'm sorry for the grief that you have to experience as a result of the violence and harms that have come against you, and the things in you that it has felt like it has stolen from you. That which feels like it has been stolen from you as a result of that pain and that harm. Period, full stop, end of sentence. That.
Mhm.
Mm. And then I want to say to
Hold on.
you, okay, you sit in that. You tell me when I can say the other thing. Be with that.
Just hold
Yes.
on, hold on. I'm just
Yeah.
like, let me just,
Feel it. Yeah.
yeah, let me let that in.
Yeah.
Um,
I am sorry for what it feels like it has stolen from you and from us.
yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
And I feel that towards you too, Sonya. Like, I'm so sorry for what this has taken or redirected in you.
Yeah.
And I know you're gonna be like, this is my journey. But I am like, I can just imagine little Sonya,
Yeah.
you know?
Wanting a
And I
path
just,
didn't have this in it. 100%.
yeah.
100%. I had a convert. I was at a therapy yesterday, and my therapist and I were working with little Sonya, who is like, who's holding, like, there's little Sonya who's holding what she's holding, and then there is this knowing that is bigger than just that person, just that experience. And little Sonya was like, you know, self Sonya was like, but I know that I've always been cared for. And
Yeah.
little Sonya was like, but
Yeah.
not the way I want it to be. Right.
Yeah.
And she
Yeah.
needed, and I need, part of the work that I feel like is happening right now in me is that she is not separate from me. She is also me, which means
Yeah.
she gets to coexist in this experience, which means there is a part of me who's like, but it was not, I didn't get what I need. I didn't get the care that that I wanted, the way I wanted it, the way I
Yeah.
believed that it would have created what it is that I wish it would have created in me. I did not get that.
Yeah, like,
And
I will say that I just had to say this in that weaving in that little piece because I'm like, I have, like, the bomb-ass parents, like, I really do have,
right,
like, the
right,
most incredible parents,
mm,
and so it's always this hard thing for me because 'cause I'm like, "Something still happened to me."
I think
You
so
know?
also.
A
Yeah.
lot still happened to me, and so I needed more protection, It's made it
Yeah.
really hard to trust,
Yeah.
and it doesn't mean it doesn't mean that this life isn't a righteous and beautiful and good life,
Mm,
but there is this other part that was like, what about a protected baby
good.
girl?
Yeah.
What if we protected all these babies? What if the whole way our society was shaped was around protecting
Mhm.
children and like seeing what emerged from that
Right.
place?
Right.
Okay, so now you,
And
okay,
this is our moment, right? And so when I think about the like, well,
mhm,
why? Well, why would why,
yeah,
right? Why would I have needed to have not, and actually, let me change this language because one of the things that
mm,
feels really important to me is like, I am never proposing. I know shit, y'all. I don't know shit. I'm figuring it out. We're all figuring it out. I don't know
mhm,
shit. But what I do play with is narrative. What I do play with is
yes,
what's the story we tell ourselves that gets us closer to the horizon of love? What is that
yeah,
story that I get to tell myself? And from that location, what I say is there is also a knowing that came from not getting the care that I want that has shaped me to become the person that I am today, to
mhm,
create that which was not there for me. And there is something in the absence of a thing that ignites the need to present that thing in the world.
I
That is the
understand.
creator, right? That's the
I
creator in us.
understand.
It's like,
Hmm.
this was not made. And I feel in my soul that it should be made. And
Yes.
now I will make it. That is what this moment
Yes.
is for us.
Toni
That is the
Morrison.
you,
Yes.
right? That's the you who said, I needed, I had amazing parents. And what would have protected that more protected part be if it were added
Yeah.
into that equation? Oh,
Yeah.
that's what I am here to sow into this collective visioning towards this horizon. That's
It's
my
like the
unique part.
seed, the fire seed, right? Like I keep thinking about the
Exactly.
fire seed, like that is a metaphor, I suppose, or like a scientific reality that also helps me get through this, which is like, oh, like the fire seed, like there's something that our whole species needs.
Mm,
And we're so bereft of it that we don't even understand we need it. Like it's so
mm,
far gone from us that we have forgotten that we need to practice it, that we need to take it seriously. There's something
yeah.
that we need that we cannot survive without. We will not survive without. We are
Okay.
not surviving without. And that that those seeds are in so many of us and that we each hold different parts because I'm like, I imagine whichever violation has been loudest for you, right? Is like, oh, my seed is in
Seed.
that
Net
garden or in that
seed.
place. Um, and then for those of us who are in these intersectional places, I don't think it's necessary. I used to be like, we get more seeds. I think it's like, no, we just get really unique, really particular
Right.
heirloom combo patterns, where they're like tomatoes with the green and the red and the yellow. Like but it's still like the solidarity is not being like, I have so much harm. It's more like, I also have harm. We
Yeah.
all have harm. And from
Mm,
that, this is the seed of what would have stopped that harm and what makes that harm
mm.
no longer possible.
Yeah.
Like
Yep. This is the
that's the
seed that moves
seed.
us beyond that harm. So again, in this concept
Mm,
of evolutionary love, that all of existence is evolving towards remembering itself, then every single thing, every seed that gets ignited in us is here to move that so that the next iteration of beings come here and that seed is already planted. It's growing, it's sprouting because
yeah.
we came here to to do our sacred work of planting that seed. And from that location, when I look at the horrible, like, what are the collective seeds that we right now are experiencing, watching this horror unveil itself? There is
Yeah.
something that we are seeing right now that we are like, never again. There is something
Yeah.
igniting in the collective field of it doesn't matter who's in power because that power is imaginary, right? It
Mhm.
has real experiences and real outcomes, but we have made it up. We made that shit up,
Yeah.
which
Well, and
means
but this is yes, go ahead. Finish your sentence because I'm like,
which
this is
okay,
my
which
brain is
means
getting
that
involved.
we are in the moment right now where we are activating seeds. We are activating
Yes.
seeds for the things that will grow, that will no longer have this imprint in it. Can we hold
Yeah.
that as we are engaging? For me, I wonder how my blood pressure would have fared if I were engaging last week with that lens, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Rather than the
Yeah.
lens of trauma and control. And I need to know because that will
Because the
help me,
facts will control
because the
yeah, I
fact
mean, I
will
think
control my danger.
I think we just reached a bridge because a part of what's happened for me, my little baby Buddhist self is always like, you know, sometimes my visionary orientation makes it so that the place I'm orienting to is a future where this thing can't happen anymore.
Here.
And I'm like, is that denial about the truth of humanity and the truth of what life is? Because isn't life this cycle that includes suffering and that includes these things? And then I'm like, well, no, but not this kind of suffering, like this, like, and so I start,
Parsing out.
I start moving in these different braids, right? Where I'm sort of like, we've reached never again so many times before. Like, and it's always like, now here come the love warriors to say never again. And like, we want to go a different path. And then it just keeps cycling back. And it's like, for me, the cycling back feels worse each time because I'm like, we know more about it. I'm like, we are a generation that really grew up understanding what Holocaust and genocide and rape and pedophilia, like we grew up like, oh, I know what that is. There's a language for it, and we say it's bad. And we talk about stranger danger, and we talk about this. We talk like we grew up knowing it was bad, and still here we are now. And so there's a part of me that's like, oh, like can we get out of the cycle, or is this like, or do we have to change how we orient to it? And I think what you just said was really helpful for me, because it's like we have to relinquish control of the whole large cycle thing, and just be like, in this time right
Yeah.
now,
Right
knowing
now.
what we know right now, being fully present with what we know right now, we have to be an embodiment of a love that is beyond this kind of harm being possible, like right now.
Right in
And
this
the more we
moment.
become that now, that creates the field. Just like we were born into basically a pedophilic field,
Feel.
right? Like we were born into a entire, that was the energy in which we grew up, and many generations before us grew up. It's like now we're shifting and being like, now at least like from this generation to the next, and then from this one to the next, the ones that coexist in the same timeline, we can actually make some headway if we harness the grief, and if we harness the pain, and we harness our own fractal piece of this massive story, and we harness the other part, which is we love the monster. That's like, that's the monster. And
Over
I
there.
think the other part for me that's been so hard is like, we have to really harness this energy relationally. Like we have to harness this energy at all the people who are pedophiles, and also have those tendencies, or have that trauma, or have that are all around us, that are, related to us, that are, we went to school with them, or we, work with the people that we're just like, we all kind of look away, or whatever it is. And again, it's not like being like, you're the worst, but it's more like being like, the tendency is the call is coming from inside the house. The
Yeah.
tendency is coming from within our own communities. And I remember this. I remember having a moment in college where I met all these different people from a lot of different backgrounds, and everyone kept being like, yeah, well, in our culture, basically they're saying like, in their culture pedophilia happens, and it's like, it's just like, in our culture everyone just
Yeah.
knows that happens. And they had different words, different language of saying it, but it
Mhm.
was like, yeah, in the, we just, this happens to people when you turn 16, or this is what the boys
Mhm.
do when they turn 15 or whatever. And it was just like, it struck me how each person was like, oh yeah, we just kind of have that, like,
Like it's just a
um
thing. Yeah.
yeah, we just kind of have that. And just be like, if every community kind of has that, then
And
how
me
do we
we kind of
turn?
have that, right?
Yeah, it's just like, and
Right.
that's kind of like, the building block of slavery. It's the building block of these encampments. It's like taking children away from parents and harming them.
Mhm.
Like it's all connected. So you have me feeling grounded, right? In this idea that I keep coming back to, which is like, we are born for this time.
You're
And
absolutely.
the pain is part of the call into the work.
Yeah.
But it
Yeah.
also is like, it's not supposed to be, yeah, the Mary Oliver poem, right? I'm like, I'm not supposed to be crawling on my knees for 1,000 miles here. I have to be alive,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Be alive to it. And I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, it's okay to, like, I'm like, oh yeah, it's actually not, given the history I have of like delaying my emotions, it's not too bad. I'm like, I'm actually feeling my emotions in real time right now.
Yes.
It's really unmooring, but it's also like, this is real. Like, I am reading stuff that makes me bawl. I am seeing things that make me nauseous, and I am feeling it in real time. And then I'm walking around in a world where we're all looking at each other like, we all know that.
That we all know
We
that.
all know that that this country is capable of this. We all know that these leaders are capable of this. We all know that this is happening all around us. It's like, now we know, and give it a moment to like be up in there, and I'm so grateful. I mean, there's some of these people who are stepping in to push this and have been holding it for so long, that I'm like,
Mhm.
thank God for people who find a lifelong mission,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Whose fire
it's just a
seed gets
lifelong.
activated in the way in which it needs to be activated, right? In service
Yeah.
of the collective. I think the other piece about this that feels so important is all of it survives and thrives in our solitude and our secrecy and our unwillingness to reach toward one another. And it's part of the reason why this conversation feels so important to me is like, what are you trying to, part of the reason we are able to say like, oh, it's just our culture does this thing is because it's a culture where harm is invisibilized and then quieted, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And and then for us, we are
And
inside
normalized as a
and
joke.
normalized as a thing that, like it's a known secret, right? Which is
Yes.
basically what we're talking about. We've been living in a known secret, right? And
Yes.
we're in the moment where not only are we saying we must give voice to the known secret, it can't be a
Yeah.
known secret anymore. Now it just needs to be known.
Yeah.
And in that knowing, we will have to confront our biggest fears. We will have to confront our most gruesome stories. We will have to confront the things that undo us. And we should not do that alone, which is why your quote is so important in this time. Our job is to hold hands and pull the veil back together, which is why it's so important that you aren't alone in your house having a
Yeah.
breakdown about your survivor story alone.
That's right. And I think that that part, like, I do have to say, like, I could pat my own back. I'm having a hot flash right now, obviously, but
Do it.
I'm like, I'm just like,
And
girl.
here for the pat
But
back at the same time.
I was like, anytime I try to give myself praise, I get a hot flash. So that's a sign too. Anyway, I was like, oh, I'm so proud of myself that I even said something to you,
Yes.
because I think my
Yes.
pattern in the past is generally like, once I get my shit back together, I'm reaching out to
Then I'll
Sonya.
that's
Right? When I reach out, when I have my shit together, we're gonna go have a public conversation about this. And I think what happened this time was like, I'm not gonna get my shit together unless I let you know I'm not okay.
Yep.
And unless I let, people around me know I'm not okay.
Yeah.
And then the idea of coming on here, I'm like, I'm not gonna have my shit together to have this conversation, because this is lifelong work and I'm
Yep.
perimenopausal. It's just like not gonna happen like that. But also I'm like, probably there's some other people, you know,
We're
at
having
least
the
in our circles. We have survivors in our
yeah.
circles. And so I'm just like, there's gotta be some other people who like us are like, I don't have my shit together.
Yeah.
And and yes, I hope this has been of use to people who needed it, like we need it, especially if you don't have folks that you easily can call and just jump into this conversation with. But I will say the way I did it, of just being like, I'm not actually okay.
Yeah.
I think I shared, because I watched Andrea's movie
Yeah.
too.
Mhm.
And I will say that, like, for me, something about that movie in relationship to this moment was really helpful. Where
Mhm.
it's like, she says something about, like, I just want to have a body. They said something about,
Yeah.
they said, I just want to have a body. And it was like so helpful for me to be like, yeah, like, everything that's happened to this body has not taken away my desire to have a body and to live a life, and to get another day to try this, and get as many days to try living in my integrity and healing as much as I can. And this, like, the way I love myself now has taken all the days, and I'm so grateful I've had all the days to do it. Like, it changes the meaning of life. Like, I'm not living my life to look a certain way for other people. I'm living my life to feel a certain way in relationship to other people. And that, it felt like I just got to draw on the practice of that here to such benefit, because you're so brilliant and direct. You're just like, let me Scorpio my way straight through to the heart of the matter.
Well, I mean, one, I appreciate you because again, you weren't in the experience by yourself, and so I'm going to pat you on your back,
Right.
and
Right.
and I'm also going to say, like, thank God that we were both being like, oh, we need something from one another,
Yeah.
right? That
Yeah.
there is the only way through this is actually in relationship, right? And
Yeah.
part of, again, the when I think about, like, okay, what would love have me do? It's like love would have me do
Yeah.
the opposite of what's happening, right? And so what's
Yeah.
happening is secrecy and shame and disconnection of human relationship. Then moving toward love looks like saying out loud, looks like connection,
Yes.
looks like unapologetically being like, not that, right? Like that's the
Yeah.
opposite of what that is. That's clearly not remembering its love. So what is love asking of me in this moment? And I feel like this moment of connection is us saying love would have us come
Yeah.
out of our own individual suffering by ourselves and be in relationship with one another and say that
Yes.
we are moving toward the horizon of love together. And every
Yes.
seed of pain that is being sown right now is actually creating the garden of a world where less of this harm has to happen, less of
I
this,
feel that.
where we don't have to learn like this.
Yeah.
Right? There's a new way to learn. And I believe we are moving towards that together. And I, in the midst of such degradation and pain, I can't lie and say I'm not incredibly hopeful. And I'm the most
Yeah.
Scorpio of lies. So the fact that I'm hopeful, y'all should give y'all some faith. Because
Yeah.
all we do over here is death and destruction. And I'm
No, I
hopeful.
mean, you do love a death and destruction, but I feel hopeful too. I mean, part of the hope I feel is it's just the hope I've always felt as a survivor because I'm like, someone tells the story and some of us always believe. Like
Mhm.
someone always
Yeah.
believes. Maybe not enough yet, but like a lot more of us
A
believe
lot
now
more.
than like
A lot
5
more.
years ago. Like more people believe now than 10 years ago. And there's just a way that we're starting to be able to look at each other and be like, we know the truth. And, I went to see Minnesota and it was just so beautiful to have all these people walk around being like, fuck you if you don't accept the truth. Just fuck you. Just fuck you. I don't fuck you very much. Thank you. It doesn't matter anymore. If you can't accept the truth, like it's not my job to slow down for you. It's just my job to live in it.
Mhm.
And I feel like we're at that precipice right now, which feels really good. Like I'm responsible for loving and living in the truth. And
Yeah.
that makes me hopeful that that I'm like in this lifetime, I'm living, I'm getting there. And then I'm looking around and seeing so many more people getting there. And I'm looking at those survivors. I'm looking at all the people I know are survivors. I do have to say, I guess I just want to uplift the work of Tarana Burke and me too, because
Yes. Yeah.
I
Yes.
feel I'm like, this lifetime of ours has been a reckoning. This adult time of ours has been a reckoning. And I think of all the Black and brown, the indigenous, the immigrant, the babies who are not valued in the way,
Yeah.
um, and the way these girls are. And then like the poverty of it all, just really
Mhm.
being like the solidarity is mind blowing to me. Like there is no community that is not touched by this, but there's a lot of communities who being touched by it has not mattered for so long. And
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
feel hopeful because I'm like, we matter to each other.
Okay.
Like we know
Period.
that we matter to each other. And that's the world I want to build. It's the one where it's like we matter to each other. So
And that we matter to each other enough. Like I don't ever
yeah.
want us to miss the fact that like Tarana held something inside of her
Yes.
that created the kind of momentum and transformation that could
Yes.
become this thing could become unveiled in this lifetime.
Yes. That's
That
right.
that is the speed, that is the trajectory of that which is
Yes.
in us, that seed that got
Yeah.
shaped from the thing it got shaped from. That's the potential of that seed in this lifetime to do something that alters the trajectory of history. And nobody, no matter what scale we are
Yeah.
operating on, that resides in every single one of us. Every single one of us. And
That's
can
it.
we see that? Can we see that? Can we see
That's it.
this is love saying, I promise I will reveal myself to you. I promise we are reconciling ourselves to love. I promise that thing that you thought broke you is actually reconciling you to love. I promise it is.
Yeah. Well, and it helps me, like I always think about Mr. Rogers, like look for the helpers.
Okay.
And I'm just like, yeah, also like look for the survivors because in every single one of these circumstances where it's like, I'm like, I'm reading this. I'm like, how could anyone? I was like, but someone did. Like someone did because I'm able to know that this happened and now I'm responsible. This is how
Yeah.
I always feel. Like I'm like, if I heard about something,
Mm-hmm.
I have to trace the thread between myself and that something.
Yeah.
And what is it I can do that I will do? And that's the
Mm-hmm.
work of my lifetime. Um, thank you. I feel woven again, you know.
And we get
I
to
feel
keep doing
woven
that.
again.
I feel like that, like
Hmm.
this energy, I think about it in this diffuse, misty confusion.
Hmm.
It frays the material of weaving. And so we have to
Yes.
keep reweaving. We have to keep sewing ourselves back into relationship because the energy we're in wants to disintegrate that connection. And our job is
Yeah.
to keep coming back and saying, nope, we're bringing
Yeah.
the needle and thread of love and reconnecting ourselves again
And
and again.
reconnecting ourselves. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love you so much.
I
And I
love
really
you.
want to say, like, I love you risking like doing an IG live with me during a Mercury retrograde between two eclipses as the astrological goddess that you are. Because I believe that love was going to let us have this conversation. Thank y'all for tuning in and holding the circle with us. And I send so much love to all of your selves of all ages and to the harnessing of the seed that is in you.
May it be abundant. It already is.
We love you.
I love you. I love y'all.
I love you. Bye, y'all.